Welcome, friends, to the True Shadow Hauntings channel. You can say our story today is based entirely on a real incident. The incident was sent to me by someone named Ansel. The incident is being read out exactly as Ansel wrote and sent it to us. Not a single word has been changed here. Ansel's own language, his emotions, and his experience are being presented before you. My name is Ansel. Today I will share with you a terrifying incident that happened in my life. Maybe those who were born around 1900, are those grandparents still alive, you might have heard from them about that Blackwood Lake. Even coming to the year 2000, I never imagined that I would have to fall victim to the horrific experience of that lake in my life. That lake took the life of my 16-year-old younger brother Leon. This hilly area of the state of Maine, although it looks as beautiful as a postcard, mystery is hidden in its every layer. Right behind our cottage is a dense forest of pine and fir trees, and right in the middle of it is that lake, which although called Blackwood Lake on the map, the locals called Dead Man's Pool. There was a folklore that around 1900, a group of mine workers camped by this lake while returning from work, but the next morning, no trace of any of them was found. Only found were their worn-out clothes and torn shoes. I became a victim of the horrific experience on a hot July afternoon in 2024. Maine's humidity was at an unbearable level that day. Leon and his 3 friends decided they would swim in that forbidden lake. I warned them repeatedly. I said, legends are not always false. But 16-year-old Leon was adventure-loving. He laughed out loud and said, "Ansel, those are just stories to scare the tourists." When we reached the bank of the lake, we saw the water was unusually still and dark blue. There was no sign of any fish or aquatic life there. Leon took off his t-shirt and ran to take a dive into the deep part of the lake. Exactly 10 seconds later, he floated up to the surface. But that previous smile was not on his face. His eyes were dilated in terror. He wanted to come towards the shore by thrashing his limbs like crazy. We all pulled him up together. After coming to the shore, what Leon said while trembling, our blood ran cold hearing that. He stated when he had dived exactly 5 feet deep into the water, suddenly he felt a pair of ice-cold skeletal hands gripping both his legs tightly and pulling him downwards. When he looked down, he saw from the dark bottom of the water, dozens of pale white faces were staring at him. Even though Leon returned by somehow saving his life, those 2 clear bluish pupils of his eyes turned pale grey in an instant. That afternoon when we were returning from the forest, Leon did not look back even once. But I was feeling that from that still water of the lake, someone invisible was bidding us farewell. Leon had indeed returned, but the life force that was inside him perhaps remained in the depths of that dark water of Blackwood Lake. After returning from that cursed afternoon at the lake, our decorated family seemed to collapse in an instant like a house of cards. Although Leon was physically at home, mentally he had seemed to be lost somewhere in the depths of that dark water of Blackwood Lake. For the first few days, he didn't say anything at all. When our mother used to make his favorite blueberry pancakes and put them in front of him, he would just look at them with a vacant stare. Gradually, he withdrew himself completely.
That cheerful football player image of his seemed to change into the silhouette of a worn-out human who had aged 10 years in 1 week. The whole day he would pull the curtains of his bedroom and sit in the dark. The beautiful sunny afternoons of Maine no longer attracted him. Hour after hour, he would look through the window glass towards that dense pine forest where that dead man's pool is hidden. I tried to talk to him a few times, but he would only say one thing repeatedly. "Ansel, it's very crowded there. They are very lonely." His voice had become somewhat harsh and metallic, just as if someone else was using his vocal cords to speak. The most horrific experience began in the second week of August. In the middle of the night, I would wake up to a strange, whispering sound. Our rooms were side by side. I could clearly hear Leon was talking to someone. Sometimes it felt like he was pleading, and sometimes laughing in an inhuman tune with a giggle. One day, the time was 2:15 a.m. The entire New England area was then covered in deep sleep. Even the chirping of crickets outside seemed to have stopped. I couldn't take it anymore. I got up from bed and went in front of Leon's room. Just as I peeked through the small hole at the very bottom of the door, my heart seemed to stop for a moment. There was no light inside the room. Only a sliver of the outside moonlight fell on his back. Leon was standing still right in the middle of the room. He was wearing only a white shirt, but most gruesome was his posture. His neck was tilted unusually to the right at almost 90 degrees, just as if someone was hanging invisibly on his shoulder and was continuously saying something in his ear. His body was shaking strangely at times. I couldn't bear it anymore. I pushed the door hard and said, "Leon, what are you doing? Turn on the light." Leon slowly turned towards me, but his neck did not become straight. He looked at me in that bent condition. In the moonlight, those two pale gray eyes of his were glowing like a living ghoul. That boyish charm or innocence of his was completely gone. A diabolical, primitive ferocity appeared on his face. He took a step towards me and whispered, "He is calling me, Ansel. He has been waiting for a long time. He says it's very cold at the bottom of the lake. He wants a companion. He wants me, Ansel. He won't return without me." While saying these words, the veins of his neck were swelling unusually. When I wanted to move towards him, he shifted towards the window with a jerk. I could clearly hear the sound of his body bones cracking. That night, I realized my dear younger brother Leon is no more. He is now only a cage made of flesh, which has gone into the possession of some ancient ghost of that lake.
That cursed new moon night of September. There was not a single star in the main sky then, as if the entire nature was waiting with bated breath for some gruesome consequence. Exactly at 3 o'clock in the night, I woke up to a blast of intense, ice-cold wind. I ran to Leon's room, but no one was there. The window glass was broken, and lying on the floor was that sacred cross of his, which he always used to wear around his neck. When the first light of dawn fell on the misty Blackwood Lake, everyone's eyes got stuck right in the middle of the lake. Leon's lifeless body was floating face down on the water. His white shirt looked like a dead bird with wings spread under the water. When the police brought his body to the shore with a boat, I couldn't look at his face. His body was white like ice and bluish, and his eyes were open, as if at the very moment before death he had seen something that no human is prepared to see. But the real horror was still left. When the autopsy report came 4 days later, the police department of the entire state of Maine was stunned. Chief Forensic Specialist Dr. Miller called for us. His hands were shaking. He stated not even a single drop of water was found in Leon's lungs.
That means, even though found in the middle of the lake, Leon did not die by drowning. In the report, the cause of death was written as extreme cervical dislocation. In simple words, his neck was twisted with such a demonic force which is impossible for any human to do. Dr. Miller whispered, "It seems someone or something held Leon's head and rotated it a full 360 degrees like the hands of a clock. His spinal bones were crushed to pieces as if some giant hand finished him off by twisting." But the most mysterious thing was, there were no fingerprints or bruises on his neck or body, as if some invisible wind itself had snapped his neck. Today, 2 years have passed. The surroundings of Blackwood Lake have now been surrounded by a huge barbed wire fence. But local hunters still claim, on new moon nights, a teenager's scream is heard from the side of that lake.
Today's incident ends here. How you liked this story, please let us know by commenting. We have spent a lot of hard work and time to make the video, so if you like it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Has any such supernatural or eerie incident happened in your life or with someone you know? If so, then you can write and send those true incident experiences to us. You can email us or directly send a message to our Facebook page. Our email and Facebook page links are given in the channel description box. That true incident sent by you could be the next terrifying mystery of our The True Shadow Hauntings video.